I'm joined here. I'm in Bangor, and I'm joined by Sharon Linscott, the town clerk for the town of Bar Harbor, in Bar Harbor, working hard right before the 4th of July. Now, Sharon, congratulations first, a very successful drive-in financial town meeting.
Sure was different.
And record-setting time. I mean, done in less than an hour.
Yeah, I think it was 48 minutes.
That's good. That's good. So, gearing up now for the election on July 14th. Lot of absentee ballots going out.
Yeah, I knew it would be a lot. It was nowhere near what we've processed. We have probably, as of this morning, have sent out 1,580 ballots already. And I was expecting, I compared my turnout to June of 2018, that primary, and that was a big year. And we had 38% turnout and just over 1,700 voters. So that's what I was basing my numbers on for now. So to have over 1,500 of them absentees now, I imagine at that rate, we may only have a couple hundred people at the polls on election day.
So how many registered voters are there in the town of Bar Harbor?
Well, right now we're showing a little over 4,700, but there hasn't been a purge for a while after 2 general elections. And so we do have quite a few inactive voters in there, so it's a little bit skewed. So the numbers that we had in 2018 was about 38% voter turnout. So right now, the number of absentees we've issued is 33%.
Wow. So for anybody who has not requested an absentee ballot, how do they get one?
Well, we're getting close. We're now just a little over a week away. So the mail is going to start becoming an issue for people that want it mailed. There's the electronic request or a phone request that we would mail it out, but then getting it back to us, if they need to try and mail it back, we're starting to get into a very tight time frame. So they can always call our office here in Bar Harbor, or any municipality, it doesn't have to be Bar Harbor, to request it by phone or request it online through the Secretary of State's website link. But right now, we actually are open to the public with social distancing, and we ask people to wear masks, but probably the safest way at this point is for people to come in and pick up their ballots. And then we also have been allowed for this election for the first time to have a remote ballot drop-off box. So I have a locked, secure ballot box out in the lobby, so people can come into the municipal building and just drop it in the lock box without having to come into the office and interact with the staff. And I know a lot of municipalities are doing that as well, finding a way to minimize that interaction.
If people are mailing it back, it requires what, 70 cents?
Our ballots do, yeah. We have our annual town meeting coincides with the state election. So we have 2 town ballots, a candidate and a referendum. And then if they're enrolled in a party, they're going to have 2 state ballots, a candidate and a referendum. And so it is requiring 70 cents return postage. And we put a notice in every envelope to alert people on a very bright colored piece of paper that is the case.
And do they need to sign the back of the envelope as well?
That is absolutely critical. We actually highlight it in fluorescent pink. It says voter signature and voter must sign on the line. And it still amazes me that when we get the mail, how many come back unsigned. And if time allows, we reject that one and reissue a new one with a letter that says, please make sure you sign your ballot. And a lot of those do come back in. But as we're getting closer to the election, we start getting those in. We may not have time to mail out a replacement ballot for those that forget to sign or just don't pay attention to sign.
And with an absentee ballot, tell us about the counting of it. So you'll actually, anything that you have received, you'll scan early.
Yeah, the state allows us to do early processing of absentee. We have to declare it in advance, and I did that months ago, that I was going to, and we have to alert all of the major parties that we're doing it because it is open to the public. So on the Saturday before, on July 11th, starting at 9 a.m., we will be upstairs in the polling place, and we will call out the names of the absentee ballots and slit them open, and we'll unfold them all and flatten them and put them all in the machines and scan them in, because we are a scanning town, not a hand tally town.
But
at the end, yeah, at the end of of the early processing, we do not generate any tally tapes. There is a USB stick that's inserted in the machine, and that's what stores the data. So at the end of the day, we do remove the ballots and lock those in the appropriate metal ballot boxes. And then the ballot boxes with the ballots in it and the machines with the sticks in them, we don't even take them out, all go down into the vault. And then on the morning of Election Day on the 14th, we bring those, not the ballots, just the machines back up. And so what we'll do is at that point, I will take the absentee stick out and put it aside, put the Election Day stick in, we'll scan everything for Election Day. And that will also be any absentees that come in after the Friday the 10th. So anything comes up Friday the 10th, we do on the 11th. But then anything that comes in after that will get processed on Election Day along with Election Day ballots. So we will have all that scanned in. At the end of the night, we generate the Election Day tally tapes. Then I put the absentee sticks back in and I generate the absentee tally tapes, and then we combine all those totals for our grand tally results.
And you'll have all those done by about 8:30 that night, right?
Oh yes, you wish, Chris. In fact, I had somebody call me the other day that said, when do you think you'll have your results? I said, I have no idea.
So Election Day voting is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., correct?
Yes.
On the 14th. And then the main thing people need to realize is that if they do have an absentee ballot, they must be received by the 14th. Anything after the 14th, you're not counting.
Yeah, we must have it in our hands by 8 o'clock on Election Day. So if it comes in the mail the next day, they all get rejected as coming after the deadline date.
Okay. Anything you want to add? I mean, do you have enough wardens? Do you have enough helpers at the polls now and all that?
Yeah, I had to, actually the Secretary of State's office suggested it and I was going to do it anyway. In advance, I took a survey of all of my election workers and found out which ones would be willing to work. And I actually have enough people with all of the protective equipment, the PPE that the state actually provided to us. I have face shields and masks and gloves and hand sanitizer and wipes and all those things that they provided for us. And we'll also have those plexiglass shields. And so with that, we had some of my workers were willing to work under those conditions. So I will be minimally staffed, but I do have enough, because even with that, the state still requires us to maintain our balance between Democrats and Republicans. Right. And so luckily I have enough people willing to work to meet those that balance of Dem and Republican, but I'll only have one check-in, one ballot person, one person at the machines. And also we've had to completely modify our polling place. We used to use half the auditorium. I now have to use the whole auditorium. Set it up this morning. Had my 6-foot measuring tape and blocked off the 4 tops, blocked off the ones that I can't use. So really I can only have 15 voters in the polling place at any one time. And I'll have those 6-foot markers all around the floor, and I'll have stanchions to kind of guide people through the line. So Election Day itself is going to be challenging just because of the social distancing that we've had to put in place.
Polling is up on the 3rd floor?
Yeah, technically when you come in the front door off of Cottage, you're on the 2nd floor.
Okay, but
People don't realize that.
Anybody who takes the elevator up, technically you probably only can have one person in that elevator at a time because of social distancing. Yeah.
Yeah, and because the elevator, because we're kind of on a little bit of an incline, so when you go down and park near the handicap entrance, you're coming in on the 1st floor downstairs. We're technically the 2nd, and our auditorium is technically the 3rd floor. Okay, so again, the Secretary of State is encouraging everyone to vote by absentee if possible. And we certainly have seen that. And I put a press release in the paper at one point too, and there's been some social media chatter. There was one weekend there was social media chatter, and I came in that Monday and my electronic request was really long that day. So people have been paying attention, and I think people are cautious too. There are a lot of people that still are hesitant as to how often they expose themselves in different places in public, and I think they've been very careful, and that definitely shows with the numbers that we've had requested so far. All right, Sharon, have a great 4th of July, and we'll look forward to getting the results, and we appreciate everything. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. All right.